Okay, good evening and welcome to Maseches Rosh Hashana Daf Yomi Daf Chavtet. Sorry, Daf Lamed. I keep getting Daf wrong. A little off. Too many days in America over here. Anyway, my father is not available to join me tonight. Um, we have a special shir for you tonight. Special shir. A lot of clarity, a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. Let's get started with the daf. The Gemara says at the bottom of Chav Tam and Beis, uh, the first wide line. Mishachar Beis Hamikdash Hishkin Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Tarabanan Pamakas Chal Rosh Hashanah Lios B'Shabbos. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is misakin that they should blow in Yavna, like they blew in the Beis Hamikdash, mean to blow to blow the shofar on Shabbos, even though when Rosh Hashanah falls on Shabbos, even though it's Shabbos. Tarabanan Pamakas Chal Rosh Hashanah Lios B'Shabbos. Rosh Hashanah fell on Shabbos. You call Edim, Wisconsin, Wisconsin, and all the people of the city came. They wanted to blow the shofar. He said to Bnei Seira, who wanted to object possibly to blowing the shofar. This is before it was instituted in Yavna. This is the story of how it became instituted in Yavna. Nitka, he said, let's blow it. Amrulo, Nidon. Let's deliberate first. We don't just act right away. Amralahem Nitka. First, let's blow, then we'll deliberate. After they blew, Amru Lo Nidon. So they said, Bnei Mesera said to Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, let's deliberate, let's judge whether it's the right idea. Amar Lahem, Kfar Nishma Karen B'Yavna Im Yeshivin Lachar Maisa. The Karen, the shofar was already heard in Yavna, and you can't, once it already happened, there's no reason to deliberate after it happened already. The Maisa happened. Once you do something, there's no reason to deliberate whether it was the right thing or not. There is a place in Eretz Israel, Kerem B'Yavna, I think it's called. The yeshiva, the Kerem B'Yavna, that's popular among the modern Orthodox. They send their yeshiva boys there. Popular yeshiva, Hester yeshiva. I think it's called Kerem B'Yavna. I think that's the name of the city. Kerem B'Yavna, the vineyard in Yavna. But we see it's also called Keren B'Yavna because of this. So is it Keren or Kerem? It's both. All right. Amar Blazer lo hitkin Yochanan Zakkai el b'Yavna Malvan. Amar lo echad Yavna echad kol makom sheyesh bo beis. This is a quote from the Mishnah. Amar lo haynu Tanakama. So there's three shittas in the Mishnah, right? There's the Tanakama, and then there's Amar lo. It's the same thing to Rabbi Lezer. So when it's Ika benayu beidina de'akrai, a temporary basin. They said any place where there's a basin, you could blow. So Tanakama said any place with a basin, even though it's a temporary basin, they just came to judge a monetary case. That would be good enough. You can blow in that front of that basin. According to the Amrulo, the third opinion in the Mishnah, that requires a permanent basin that was supposed to be there supposed to come every day. Like we know, they used to come on Sheni v'Chamishi. Amrulo, from the beginning of Maseches Ksuvos. Amrulo echad yavna echad gomokom sheish bo basin. Amar Rav Huna. Huna says in basin, you have to blow with basin. So what does it mean? My in basin. What does it mean with basin? Bifnei basin. He says it means you have to blow in front of Beis Din. You can't blow, even though it's a time where Beis Din adjudicates cases, you can't blow the shofar on Shabbos Rosh Hashanah if it's not in front of Beis Din. You can't blow it. Mesiv Rava asked the following question. And in addition, there was another difference in Yerushalayim and Yavne. My va'odzos. Va'odzos. What's this word va'od? Va'od. There's another difference. If it was just as it says, the only difference between Yavna and Yerushalayim is that basically in Yerushalayim the suburbs could blow also, and Yavna only Yavna, the city of Yavna itself. Could that be the only difference? Zos mi bayile. So I said Zos. Why say Od? El Yerushalayim token Yechidin of Yavna and token Yechidin. Must be the other difference in Yerushalayim that single people could blow. Yavna, the people, only the emissary of the basin could blow. The Yavna ain't talking Yechidin. And Yavna, Yechidim, singular people couldn't blow. Haki Yasser of Yitzhak Bar Yosef, Omar Knesayim, Shlicha the Tzibur Tkiya B'Yavna. On Shabbos and Rosh Hashanah, when the Shliach Tzibur finishes his Tkiyos in Yavna, Lo Shama Inish Kal Oni Mikol Tkiya D'Yechidai. No one could hear any noise anymore because everyone was blowing the shofar. all the singular people blowing shofar, whoever didn't hear the public shofar blowing. So you see, even singular people blew in Yavne. El Alav Yerushalayim token bim bizman basin, bim shlo bizman basin. And what's the other difference? Yerushalayim, they're allowed to blow whether it was the time when basin sat or the time when they didn't sat. Yavne bizman basin, shlo bizman basin low. Yavne only the time when basin normally sat. So the Rosh says low. Ha bizman basin, shlo bizman basin low. Ha bizman basin, mia token. But you see that in Yavne, you could habizman basin mia token that feel shol b'fnei basin. And you can conclude from this that as long as it's zman basin and yavna, you could blow even though it's not actually in front of basin. Or it says low the ilu b'shalayim token ben b'fnei basin ben shol b'fnei basin. Now the other difference between shalayim and yavna, shalayim they would blow whether you're in front of a basin or not in front of a basin. Yavna b'fnei basin and shol b'fnei basin low, exactly like I believe it was Rav Huna said. Other people attribute what Rav Huna said on this. On Yom Kippur is talking about Kippur of Yovel, so you should blow the shofar. Every single person on Yovel Yom Kippur, not just like on Rosh Hashana where Shlich Tzibur blows, but on Yovel, every single person is supposed to blow shofar. Amar Rav Huna of im basin. Rav Huna on that said it has to be with basin. My im basin. So what does im basin mean? Bisman basin. Regarding Yovel, it said bisman basin, the time of basin. Afuke shlo bisman basin delo. To exclude when it's not time of basin, then you don't blow. Meisiv Rava Tkiyas Rosh Hashanah Yovel Dochas Hashabbos Begvulin Ishu Beso. Prices says Tkiyas Rosh Hashanah and Yovel pushes away Shabbos. Even outside the base of Mikdash, he should be a person in his family. Family usually refers to his wife. My Ishu Beso. What is Ishu Beso? Ilema Ishu Bishto, Ish and his wife, like the common explanation is Sami Mechaiva. Is a woman really chayiv in Tkiyah Shofar? A mitzvah Seishas Ban Gromahi. It's a mitzvah, positive mitzvah, which is constricted by time. Chol mitzvah Seishas Ban Groma and Hashem Turos, they're exempt from those mitzvahs. Elav Ishu Beso. Means a person in his house. It must be what? He can blow in his house. And when are you going to blow in your house? Obviously, you're going to blow even when it's not the time of Beis Din. You can't really arrange it when it's on Beis Din. Well, Shmar says, lo, the olam is on Beis Din. Really, actually, it was. You can blow in your house, just it has to be Bisman Beis Din. Beis Rav Shesha, Shava Yovel Rosh Hashanah Tkiyah Lebrachos. We saw in our Mishnah that the Tkiyos and the brachos are the same on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur of Yovel. I should be able to token ben basin kishbos a chodesh, ben basin shlo kishbos a chodesh. Yovel, you can be tokea even in basin where they're makadosh the chodesh, meaning the main basin, or not the main basin. Chol yachav chayav l'tkoa. And Yovel, every person has a chayav to be tokea. Rosh Hashanah, you token elo basin kishbos a chodesh. Two differences. The first difference is they're only blow in the place, the main base, and where the Makadosh the Chodesh. And Kol Yachid Yachid Chayav L'Tkoa. Each individual is not Chayav to be Tokeh. My in Kol Yachid Yachid Chayav L'Tkoa. Yilema to be Yovel Token Yechidin. On Yovel, that's singular people, individual people blow. Rosh Hashanah ain't Token Yechidin. Rosh Hashanah when it falls on Shabbos, Yechidin don't blow. Haki Yasa Rav Yitzhak Bar Yosef Amar Kiyam Masayim Shlicha D'Siburat Kiyasa B'Yavne L'Shamne Inish Kol On Yemi Kol Tkiyah D'Chidai. No one heard. Could hear anything because after the Shliach Sira finished, everyone was blowing already, and that was on Rosh Hashanah. Elav, the Yovel Yovel token them is man based and man shlo is man based. Yovel, the difference is you blow even if it's not the time of based. Rosh Hashanah is man based and shlo is man based and only at the time based when it's not time based you don't blow. Exciting me as Yovel blame is man based and man shlo is man based. So you see on Yovel, it's not restricted to this man based. So what was Rav Huna saying? When says lo is man based and really even on Yovel. Kippur Yovel, and when it falls on Shabbos, you only blow Bisman Basin. Hachikas and Yovel Bisman Basin token Ben Bifnei Basin Ben Shalom Bifnei Basin. There is a kula by Yovel, even though you have to blow at the time when Basin is sitting, but you don't have to blow in front of Basin. Rosh Hashanah token Bisman Basin Bifnei Basin. Rosh Hashanah has to be the time of Basin and it has to be in front of Basin. It's Barnam. Yam Rav Chia Bar Gamdam Rav Yosef Ben Shol Am Rebbe and token Ella Kolzman She Basin Yoshvin. You can only be Tokeya as long as Basin is sitting, meaning that it's a session of Basin. Let's say they finished their session. They're about to stand up. Can you blow or not? Based in Yosha Ma'ina Ma'ika. Is it technically mean that Yoshvim means it's their session, and they're actually means they're sitting. Yoshvim means literally they're sitting, and they're still sitting. Vayiko Dilma Zman Beis, really need the time when they normally adjudicate cases, and that time has ended, and they're about to stand up. But Leica, you don't have that, so you can't blow. Teiku, we're not sure the answer. We'll find out very soon, hopefully. Mashiach comes. Hira v'yameinu this year. Amen. Let's hope it's this year. Could be before the end of the calendar year. You never know. Ve'od zos haisa Yerushalayim Yisera al Yavna. More, another difference. We said at the suburbs. The suburbs of Yerushalayim, you can blow even on Rosh Hashana, fall on Shabbos. Roa Pratli Yoshes Benachal. So the suburb has to be able to see Yerushalayim, to exempt, not to exempt, to say you're not allowed to blow in a place that's in a valley where you can't see Yerushalayim. Shomas, as you could hear, Pratli Yoshes Barosh Hahar. If it's on top of a mountain, it can't hear so well. You can't blow it there. Krova Pratli Yoshev B'chutz Tchum. Even though you could technically hear and see, but if you're outside the Tchum, you can't blow. Yechola Lavo Pratli Mafsik Lanahara. If there's a river between that suburb and Yerushalayim, you can't really come. You can't pass over that river unless you take a bridge. So that's considered far away, and therefore you wouldn't be allowed to blow the shofar in Rosh Hashanah in that place. Mishnah. Rishona Hayu Lulav Nital Mikdash Shiva. Originally, lulav was taken in the base of Mikdash 7 days. In Medina Yom Echad. And outside the base of Mikdash, the mitzvah of lulav, to shake a lulav, is only 1 day. Mishkar base of Mikdash, Shishkin Revacham and Zakai Shehei Lulav Nital Medina Shiva Zeichel Mikdash. He made it takana, like we have nowadays, that you take a lulav all 7 days, just like we did in the base of Mikdash, to remind us of the base of Mikdash. Shehei Yom Hanef Kulu Asar. Another takana he made is that the 16th day of Nisan should be asar to eat. The whole day is asar to eat Chadash. You have to eat Yashin until the 16th day is over. We'll see why in the Gemara. Technically, when the base of Mikdash is around, you could eat Chadash once the Korban Omer is brought. And if you don't know when it's brought, Chatzos, the Gemara says, in Menachos. The Gemara says, how do you know that you make a Zeichel HaMikdash? Amakra, Kiela Arucha Lach, Makosecha Arpaech Hashem, Kinira, Nilcha Karolach, Sion Hidorish Einla, Michlad by Adrisha. The pasuk is talking about remembering Yerushalayim. It'll have wounds on it. Sion, no one searches after Sion. No one searches after remembering the base of Mikdash. So you see the fact that there's a taina the Navi has that no one's Dorish Sion. We have to buy Drisha. And that's where Yachmin Zaka made takonas to remind us of when the base of Mikdash was around. Yom Hanev Kulu Aser. The whole day of Ted Zion Venisan should be Aser for eating Chodesh. My time. Mahiri Ban Base of Mikdash Yom Le'eshkad. Because what happens? The base of Mikdash might be rebuilt right away. Yom Le'eshkad. Say last year Milo Achalna Behira Mizra. Right when the base of Mikdash is not around, normally you're allowed to eat right dawn of the 16th day of Nisan once it starts. That's the Dindo rice. Akshav Nami Nechol. And they'll say this year also we should eat right at the dawn. V'lo Yadi Le'eshkad Lo Hava Omer. There wasn't an Omer. There wasn't no base of Mikdash. Here in Mizrach hit there, and that's why dawn matter is usually Chodesh Hashta the Ika Omer matter. Now that there's an old carbon Omer, so you need the Omer, and they're not going to wait for the Omer. So where it says the Mivni Amos, when are we concerned the base of Mikdash is going to be rebuilt? Ilema the Ivni B'Shitzer is going to be built on the 16th. Hare here in Mizrach. Once the dawn of the 16th comes, the base of Mikdash is not around, so it matters the Chodesh. Ela the Ivni B'Chameisar. It must be that it was built on the 15th. Why did he make a takana to Asher the whole day? The most should be Asher until Chatzos. People who don't know when the Omer, they're far away from the base of Mikdash, they didn't know when the Omer was brought, they can assume it was brought. The Kohanim weren't Atzelim, they weren't lazy, they must have brought it by Chatzos. Fishaim Basim is Atzlanbo, they're not lazy about it. So Nizracha, the right answer is the Ivni Mechameser, Samuchshkez Kama, the Ivni Belelia. Either it's built at sunset from the 15th to the 16th, or it's built in the night of the 16th, before the day of the 16th starts. We'll start an Ewan Ben Sina over here. Why does the Gemara really give two answers over here? Well, first of all, the explanation of the Gemara is that because the base of Mikdash are built at night, so therefore there's not proper time. You have to repair the Korban Omer. There's not proper time to cut the Omer. That normally is done during the day. You can't cut it at night. So there's no time to prepare the Omer, so therefore it'll be later than Chatzos, and therefore he made the whole day Aser. Why does it say Right? Why does it say two different things? You see that there's two possibilities of the rebuilding based on Mikdash. There's rebuilding based on Mikdash at night, and there's rebuilding Samach L'Shkias Achama. And what's the difference between the two? We're gonna leave that for now, but it has something to do with the Gemara in Sanhedrin, which says that if you're zocha, if we're zocha, so then Mashiach is b'anei kavod, and if we're not zocha, then he's rochav al chamor. Then he comes riding on a donkey. So trailer is connected to why the Gemara gives two answers over here. Whether Beis Hamikdash is going to be rebuilt samach l'shkias hachamor, where it's still day, or it's going to be built at night. At night, like a chamor, donkey riding in the night. All right, Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, he gives a different answer. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai b'shitas. Let's turn the page here. Laman Amud Beis b'shitas Rabbi Huda Amra. He said, when he said he asked the whole day of the 16th, he said it in the shita of Rabbi Huda. The Amar adetzem hayom hazeh. He darshan the pasuk. The pasuk says you can't eat chadash adetzem hayom hazeh. Ad atzmo shal yom kasav ad ad bechlal. He says atzmo etzem is the day itself, the whole day itself, and ad, the word ad, comes to include the whole day. So you have to include the whole day. So therefore, the whole day is usher. It's on the rice level. Did he really hold like Rabbi Yehuda? Mithak polygal. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai argued on him this time. He was masakin after the Churban. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Ba'alo min Torah usher. He said Rabbi Yehuda seems to argue on him. He says it's also min Torah, not min Rabbanan. He says, "How somebody who the kad taught you?" Yehuda in his brisa made a mistake. He saw Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai min Rabbanan kamer. He thought he was only saying min Rabbanan. Belowi, it's not really true. Min Raisa kamer. He said min Raisa by Hitkin Kasani. It sounded like before when the Beis Hamikdash was around, it was Omer Chatzos, and now Hitkin he made it after the Churban. He made it Takana. My Hitkin Darash Hitkin. No, at that point when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, he looked into the Inyan more carefully, and he was Dorish the Torah, and exactly like Rabbi Yehuda, that's my Yom, and it said Ad Bechlal, and therefore he was Dorish v'Hitkin Adin Do Raisa. Mishnah says, Brishona Hayu Makabel is a Chodesh Kol Hayom. Originally, whenever Rosh Hashana was about to fall out, the Makabel, the Eidim per Tishrei, the whole day, and therefore once the Eidim came, they made that day was the new month. If they were able to Makadesh it that day, that was the new month, the first of the day. And yesterday was the previous day was the last day of Elul. But one time the Edom came late. It's Kalkul Levim Bashir, and Levim made a mistake with the shir that accompanied the Karban Mincha. The Tamid Shal Ben Arbayim. Hiskin Shaloyu Makabel Ela Ad Hamincha. So they made the Takana from now on that they're not Makabel Edus for Tishrei only until Mincha. What happened if they came to Mincha Lamal? No, really, they'd make tomorrow. They would delay, and they wouldn't let them testify till tomorrow. But because they really had the potential of making today into Rosh Hashana, so whenever they came after Mincha, they would restrict doing Malacha for the rest of that day, even though they would treat it as Chol, as the last day of Elul, but they would restrict Malacha, and that's really the basis why we have 2 days of Rosh Hashana, because of this Takana. We really have it Aleph and Beis, but for them it was really Lamed Elul and Aleph Tishrei, or Chavted Elul and Aleph Tishrei. He went back, once the Churban happened, he went back. There was no more problem of Karbonos anymore, of coming saying the wrong shir with the Karbonos. So therefore, he went back, and your Makabel Edus HaChodesh, they would Makabel Edus HaChodesh even after the Churban. Like we said in Yavneh, they would, wherever the Sanhedrin was. They would Makabel Edus HaChodesh call Yom even after Mincha, Zman Mincha. Zman Mincha is really Mincha Ktana, 9:30 into the day, 9 hours and 30 minutes into the day. Ma Kilkel, the Gemara says, what was a Kilkel? What was the mistake? Kilkel Uhalavim Bashir. They made a mistake with the shir. Hacha Targimu here in Babel, he said, Shalom Rushira Kol Ikar. They didn't say the shir Shal Yom at all. Zera Amar Sha'am Rushira Shal Chol. The mistake was they said the shir of the weekday with Tamid Shal Ben Arbayim. Amar Lo Rabbi Zera, Ava Breit. Rabbi Zera said to his son Ava, Poktani lahu, go out and teach the public. Hiskinu shelo yehu mekabel ez achodesh ela gedei sheyeh sholos bayom lahakru tzmidin musafim nischayim v'lomar shira shelo b'shibush. He said in describing our Mishnah, they were Masaki, and they shouldn't Makabal Eidos unless you had enough time in order to bring the Korban Tamid and Musaf and the Nesachim and say the Shira Shalom B'Shiba, the Shira Shal Yom, or the Tamid Shalom Rabbayim without a mistake. Yeah, Mar Bishlama Amor Shira, they did say Shira, the Chol, they said a Shira of the Chol, Hainudika Shibush, that's a mistake. You're supposed to say Shira Rosh Hashana, and you said the Shira Shal Chol, Ela Yamart Lo Amar Klal, they didn't say it at all, my Shibush. What's the shibush? Not a mistake, just not say anything. Ika came on the lo amar klal ilcha shibush gadol mizad. Gemara retracts from that. No, if you don't say it, you're supposed to say it. There's no bigger mistake than that. Meisiv Rav Ada Rav Acha Bar Huna Tamid Shal Rosh Hashana Shachas Karav Kil Chasa. The normal way it works is that even if the Edom came before the Tamid Shal Shachar to declare that month Rosh Hashanah, you would still say the Shir Shal Yom of that day. Let's say if it was a Wednesday, you would say Wednesday Shir Shal Yom accompanying the Talmud Shal Shachar. That was always the rule on Rosh Hashanah. But Musaf, Ma'al Omer. But if they were Makadosh before Musaf, what Shir was the Shir for Rosh Hashanah? Omer Hernino Elokim Uzenu Hariyu Elokiyakov. Mincha, that was Psukim, that parak in Tehillah. Mincha Ma'al Omer. And if they came before Mincha, what would they say? Kol Hashem Yachal Midbar. Right, they would say that parak in Tehillah. Mizman Shachal Rosh Hashanah. Let's say Rosh Hashanah, the Edom came on a Thursday. Now they were saying Harninu, they were supposed to say this at Musaf, Harninu. But they came in the morning, and the Shir Shal Yom on Yom Chamishi is, we say Yom Chamishi, the Shir Shal Yom is Harninu. And normally they would say that the Shir Shal Yom on Rosh Hashanah, the Shachris. He wouldn't say it as Shach. He's going to say it as Musaf. Omer. What does he say in the morning? Which is really part of the same parak, just later on in that parak. If the Edom came actually after the Talmud Shal Shachar, where they already said Harninu, so you still say Harninu at Musaf and the Korban Musaf, because it wasn't a toast. That's just the way it was. If you'll say the mistake, the mistake was either they didn't say, they said the wrong share, or they said no share. So if you say when everything's a suffix, what to say, you say a share of chol, and the shibush was they said the wrong share. That's why the Gemara says he said it, he might say it and say it again. Ella, right? So therefore, the Talmud Shal Shachar, he wasn't sure. The item didn't come at Talmud Shal Shachar. So it was a Thursday. So you'd say Harninu, because you're a suffix, you'd say a Shir Shal Chol. That's what you do in a Malkom suffix. That's why the Bryce has to say that Omer of a Kofli, you would say it if they happen, they came afterwards. You say it twice. Lo Amr Klal. Whenever there's a suffix, you don't say anything. My Omer of a Koflo. On a Thursday morning, why would they say it the first time? If they're mistapik, it's Lamed Elul, and they're not sure whether they're going to turn this day into the first day of Rosh Hashanah, right? So why there's a suffix whether it's going to be Rosh Hashanah? No, they shouldn't say it at all. My Omer of a Koflo. Why would they say it in the first place? So my answer is top of Lamed Aleph Lamed Aleph, Shiny Hassan, the Shir of the Yomi. It's different because even though normally a suffix, they wouldn't say anything. That's why the shibush was they didn't say anything, but this was this is the regular minhag on every Rosh Hashanah was to say, even if the Edom came before Talmud Shal Shachar, they would say the Shir Shal Yom. They would say if it was Wednesday, any other day, Tuesday or Wednesday, they would say that Shir Shal Yom. That was considered the Shir of Rosh Hashanah. It's not really a suffix. So therefore, on Thursday also, it's really not a suffix, and you say the Shir Shal Yom, even though they're mistapik, whether that day is going to be Rosh Hashanah or not. Hope you enjoyed today's shir, and the exciting part was the Iyum Ben Sion today, which was an amazing question. Where he asked, why do you have to repeat? Why do you have to say two different instances, right? Say either one, just say from Shkias Hacham or Samach Shkias Hacham on the 15th, starting from then until the night, that period. Why is Inami? So I want to say that I'll answer the question for you. That right? Everyone thinks that Zacha, right? if we're Zocha, Mashiach is going to come, but not a couple. He's going to come. He's going to be in the clouds, Mashiach. And if we're not Zocha, lo Zacha. So Mashiach is going to be Rochev al Chamor. Now, people understand that Gemara that if we're Zocha, Klal Yisrael is Zocha. I don't think that's the explanation of the Gemara. The explanation of the Gemara is Zacha if Mashiach himself is Zocha. And what is Zocha? Zocha means a credit, right? When you go to the bank, you have two things. If schus and chova. Schus is a credit in English, and a chova is a debit, right? So Zacha, a credit. What is a credit? A credit is like a credit card, you know. You got a bonus now, and you got to pay it back later. You have chovos to pay off later, right? Everyone thinks a credit. Schus is a great thing. Schus is not such a great thing. Schus means it's a credit, meaning we're giving you something for free now, and you're gonna have to pay it back later. So sometimes it's good not to take gifts in life. You take gifts, you owe them later. So Zacha, if Mashiach is that person who's Zocha, he's taking credits, he's not earning his fair keep, he's not earning his fair share. So he's going to be in the clouds, Mashiach. He's not going to be grounded. He's not going to be in this world. If he's lo Zacha, meaning he's someone who debits, meaning that a lot of people have problems with credit cards because they spend their credit cards, they go into huge debt. And they have interest rates, and they can never get out of credit card debt because you're spending money you don't have. A debit card is great because it only takes money out of the account. It takes money out of the account right away, and you only can take out what you have, right? Most countries you can't go into the red. I'll give you a problem to go into the red. Israel can go into the red, but most countries you can't go into the red. So a debit card is great because of that. And so as they're saying, lo zacha, a person who lives his life, Mashiach lives his life in debit, right? He knows he takes his punches. He knows he takes his chovos, he takes his hardships, but he knows he's going through it and he's gonna pay, and he pays it off right away. He pays off his chovos. You know, it's hard. It's hard to be Mashiach. It's hard to go through 18 years of grueling hardship and labor to do that. You know, so if he pays off his debits, then it'll be rochev al chamor. Everyone thinks it's a bad thing. Rochev al chamor is the greatest thing because chamor is chomrius. Everyone thinks chomrius is a bad thing. You go to America. I'm in America now. Gashmi is terrible, terrible, terrible. No, Gashmi is not terrible. You know, right? America really is one of the Gashmistic capitals in the world. Europe is more luxury, but the Gashmistic capital of the world is America. Everything feels good here. It feels good. The wood feels good. The drinks taste good. Everything's good here. The Gashmis, you sense it. Your five senses, they enjoy things more here in America. That's a great thing. That's chamor. That's chomrius. If you can enjoy it, that's a great thing. And then there's rochev al chamor, that rochev al chamor is you're riding on the donkey. Two things when you ride on something. First of all, it means you're above it. You control that chomrius. That's an important thing because people who are exposed to unabated chomrius, gashmius, they can't control it. It ruins their lives. But if you can rochev, you can ride on it, and you have that stick, you know, in Ralph Lauren, they have that stick, the guy, he's hitting the donkey, hitting the horse, whatever he's hitting. He's hitting the donkey. So you have control over the donkey. So that's great. You can enjoy the chomrius, you can enjoy it, and you have control over it. And also, rochev al chamor, you know, a higher level rochev al chamor is that Ruchnius, Eretz Yisrael is the capital of Ruchnius, the metaphysical world, capital of the world. Metaphysical capital of the world is Eretz Yisrael, because you know there's two parts to a person. There's guf and there's Ruchnius, there's Ruchani, it's nefesh. And if you can ride on the chamor, you control the chamor. Not only can you control the chomrius, but you also not only the stick that's hitting the donkey. You're also a person, a human being, sense of humor, a human being. That's a ruchnistic person, a real person, a nefesh person, a metaphysical person. That's the highest level of person. A person can enjoy olam haba in this world. There is a metaphysical world in this world. We have to know how to access it, but that's the rider on the chamor. The rider, the stick, is controlling the chamor. You can enjoy the chamrius. The rochev, the actual human being on top, a real man, he's not a robot. He could actually access olam haba in this world and access the metaphysical. That's Eretz Yisrael. That's why I want to live in Eretz Yisrael half the year, America half the year. Anyway, have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.